Okay, there we are. Hello, everyone. I'm hoping everyone can see the slides I've got up. There should be a big blue slide saying, "And how does that make you feel? Understanding two theories of psychotherapy." So that is the aim for this micro teach, is to basically go through the basics of two theories of psychotherapy, or psychotherapeutic counselling. So first of all, my name's Tom. I'm level 2 and at the moment doing level 3 qualification in counselling skills and counselling studies. And the terms counselling and psychotherapy are really interchangeable. They mean the same thing. So yeah, the aim is to familiarise everyone with two of the many theoretical approaches to counselling. And these two approaches will be psychodynamic and existential. So I'm not going to ask anyone to disclose if they've ever had counselling or therapy at all, but can I just ask you guys to call out what you think counselling might be, or what it might be for, if you're comfortable to do that?
The communication-based treatment.
Good. Yeah. It's a talking therapy. It's communication. You're absolutely right. Let me just find the next slide. It is, the talking therapy, basically. Counselling offers clients a confidential and judgment-free space where they're not going to be judged or evaluated in any way on their feelings, their emotions, their actions, because nobody who knows them is going to know about this. It's all confidential. It just gives the client the space to explore, maybe they've been struggling with certain emotions and feelings, or they've been acting or reacting in certain ways. It's used for that. It's used for addressing quite a few common mental health problems. People with depressive thoughts or depression and anxiety, very common conditions. It's been found that counselling can be as helpful as medication for many conditions like that as well, or alongside medication too. Also counselling is client-led, rather than the sort of image we often have of counselling as, the counsellor is the authority sat there whilst you're laid out on the couch. It's not like that at all in counselling. The session, the subject matter, whatever it is all led by the client, and the counsellor just holds that space and helps the client to focus on what they need or want to focus on. So that's just some context in brief for what counselling and psychotherapy is. So first, straight into the psychodynamic theory. So psychodynamic theory was largely invented by Sigmund Freud, good old Freud, the original bad boy of psychotherapy, really. He was alive from 1856 to 1939. So that was more or less the time of the start of psychotherapy in the West. Now, psychodynamic theory and therapy focuses on the client's past and sees how is that affecting the client's present, our past relationships affecting how the client is relating to themselves, relating to other people in their lives, or relating to their own personal history. Everything from how your parents treated you, or how you viewed your caregiver's treatment of you, first romantic feelings. Freud, of course, famously or infamously, very focused on sex and how that affects development as well. So it's personality development and how that's affecting your present personality. The focus is very much on the past there. You guys may be familiar with terms like, daddy issues or Freudian slip. We can thank Freud and some of his colleagues for that. Freudian slip, I'm sure we've all made them. Always at the worst moments. Hoping I don't do one now. I'm actually talking about it. Freud, a great forward thinker for his time, for a white Victorian man. He was actually progressive for his time. Bit of a lad, as I said there, and had a notorious coke habit. He could get through that stuff and used to give little baggies of it out to his friends and colleagues as well. the belief is that he maybe thought it fueled his creativity and his thinking process. Anyway, it's a miracle he died with a septum. So there we go. So that's Freud. And psychodynamic therapy, or theory. There are many, many other approaches under psychodynamic theory. Carl Gustav Jung, who was a contemporary of Freud, they parted ways, but Jung again, that's his work is psychodynamic with some differences. And there are many, many others as well. Early psychotherapy theories and approaches tend to be dominated by, well, dead white Victorian men. That's pretty much psychodynamic theory in a nutshell. The other theory is existential therapy, which is my personal favorite. Existential therapy or theory doesn't focus on past relationships. It focuses on the client's state of being, where they are, now. How are they thinking, feeling, reacting at any given moment? It doesn't examine past relationships or personality development. It instead tries to address the client's meaning, their found meanings in life, meanings they apply to every realm of their life, their work, their family, their relationships, the physical realm, psychological realm, the spiritual realm, every aspect of life. It's about helping the client find their own meaning in what might seem an otherwise meaningless world, or a world that is completely open to all meaning. It's a very philosophically based theory, very different from psychodynamic, which is very personality based. So, sorry. Existential theory as well helps the client address the inescapable givens of life, those things none of us can escape: death, illness, isolation, feelings of meaninglessness, which may occur to anyone, personal freedom and responsibility that comes with that. So it asks the client to examine what meanings they attribute to these. Are they other people's meanings? Are they their own meanings? Or if they're feeling a meaninglessness and a hopelessness, where can they find meaning in these areas? So yeah, it helps people deal with existential crises, midlife crises, all these sort of things. What does this mean? Why am I doing ABC? So it's very wide-reaching, and it's a real favorite of mine. And this person here, Emmy van Deurzen, is an absolute icon to me. Unlike many theorists, she's still alive, still working. Not so into coke, but very, very fond of neck scarves. When researching this, I found there isn't a photo of her without one. Anyway, she's also an activist within psychotherapy, an anti-psychiatry activist. She's more about person-centered psychotherapy rather than just putting people in boxes and diagnoses. And her work over the last 50 years or so has been really influential. So it's Emmy van Deurzen, a great existential thinker and therapist. So let's move on to the next one. So do you guys have any questions at the moment you'd like to ask about psychodynamic theory and or existential theory at all?
I've got one, Tom, if
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned when you were introducing Freud that he was sort of right at the onset of the movement in the West. So is it prevalent elsewhere before that? Is it something that we've sort of come across quite late, or was that what we...
Thanks for asking that. That's a bloody good question, to be honest. I think the general consensus is that talking therapy is a very Western thing, because in the West, generally, we've become very divorced from pastoral roles. We are more divorced from a close-knit community or a meaningful spiritual dimension to society and individual life. So there hasn't really been seen, or rather it hasn't arisen in other cultures because there hasn't apparently been as much of a need. That seems to be the general consensus. And psychotherapy is so influenced by psychiatry and psychology. And these are, again, schools of thought which originated, and philosophy, which originated, in the West and in, classical Greece and Italy. So they are very Western for those reasons as well. Yeah. Does that answer?
Oh, great. Yeah, no, that's spot on. Thanks so much, Tom. That's great.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you are at 10 minutes.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Brilliant. Okay, well, that's perfect timing. So little bit of assessment just to see how you guys have taken anything in. No judgment if anyone hasn't learned anything. So you can just shout these out, actually. So which approach focuses on the past? Is it A, existential, B, psychodynamic, or C, both?
Psychodynamic.
Psychodynamic.
Awesome. Well done, everyone. That's it. Absolutely. Second question. Which approach looks for personal meaning in life? Is it psychodynamic, existential, or both?
Was it existential?
It is existential. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just to put in as well that with many theories and approaches, there's sometimes a little bit of overlap, and counsellors can integrate approaches. But these two are really very separate ones. But yeah, by and large, if you ever experience counselling or speak to counsellors, you may find there is overlap between many theories. Okay, question 3. What was Freud's drug of choice? Was it coffee, cake, or cocaine?
Cocaine.
Hell yeah, right. So that was cocaine. So well done, everyone. You got those 3. Right. Who invented daddy issues?
Freud.
Yeah, I know, the man was obsessed. And sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, leave it alone. So yeah, Freud, thank you. And which theory might help explain midlife crisis, for example?
Existential.
Existentialism. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, okay, brilliant. That is excellent. So just some resources here as well. I don't know if you guys want to take note of any of these acronyms or anything. If anyone's interested in looking into counselling and psychotherapy as a subject, or if you're actually looking for a register of qualified accredited counsellors, then the BACP, that's the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy, they have an accredited register, as do the UKCP, that's the UK Counsellors and Psychotherapists Group, and the National Counselling Society, NCS. So you can Google any of those acronyms, it'll throw it up. And you'll be able to find loads of information on the subject there. Also, the third sector organisations, one of my absolute favourites, Mind, is a nationwide organisation who do provide counselling. There's a free service as well as a paid service as well. And there are regional organisations as well under Mind, like Mind Cymru, Mind Scotland, various around England as well. Women's Aid do amazing work, obviously focusing on women and children who've been victims of domestic and or sexual abuse. So that focuses on offering female counsellors to clients specifically there. And yeah, just in your localities as well, you'll find lots of local agencies or third sector organisations. And generally, third sector will be able to offer some sort of free counselling. Agencies, of course, you will have to pay unless they do some sort of pro bono work. So yeah, just a quick summary then of what we've covered. Psychodynamic theory, the focus of which is on past relationships and how they impact present relationships. That was formed by Freud in the early 20th century. And then we have existential theory, which looks for personal meaning in a meaningless world, but also has inescapable givens like death, illness, isolation, that sort of thing. And that has been greatly expanded on by Emmy van Derzen over the last 50 years. So that is everything. Does anyone have any last questions they'd like to ask me at all? About any aspect of counselling? Well, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed talking about that, so thank you.